Zach.
And we're traveling A to Z.
This week we're cruising down the Nile River in Egypt.
So right now we are making our way on the Nile River on the river cruise. That will run this river from Aswan to Luxor. Yesterday, on our first day of the river cruise, we visited the Nubian village and also Philae Temple. Today, we're going to visit Abu Simbel Temple along with the High Dam and Kom Ombo Temple. So we're going to Abu Simbel Temple, and we are in South Aswan, and we're close to the Sudan border. Going to the Great Temple.
Yes, we are.
So this is Nasser Lake. It's the biggest lake in Egypt and the world. It's over 500 kilometers long. It formed from the High Dam between Sudan and Egypt. Abu Simbel is a historic site comprising of two massive rock-cut temples in the village of Abu Simbel. This is located in Upper Egypt near the border with Sudan. It is situated on the western bank of Lake Nasser. The twin temples were originally carved out on the mountainside in 13th century BC in the 19th dynasty by Rasmussen II. The front of the temple has huge rock figures of Rasmussen II and his wife, along with his children, which are smaller figures by his feet. Unfortunately, on the left side of the entrance, you could see where an earthquake damaged one of the statues, causing the head and torso to fall away. They just put the broken head at one of his feet. As you walk in, you could see four colossal 66-foot statues, each representing Rasmussen II seated on the throne and wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. So this is King Ramses II Temple. We're in the Abu Simbel, and it's really nice. It's an Egyptian temple, and you can see as we're walking in, they have the big statues on each side. This temple has lots of different rooms you could go into. This is the statue of Ramses II, and you can see underneath he's stomping on people, and also he's fighting somebody. So this right here, this is the evil god and the good god, and they're putting on the crown at the same time to represent that he's good and can be really strong and can be bad if you mess around. It's so cool, huh? You can see how like they had different colors, and probably was painted beautifully at one point. The Great Temple of Abu Simbel took approximately 20 years to build. It is considered one of the grandest and most beautiful temples commissioned during the reign of Rasmussen II and is one of the most beautiful in Egypt. Two times out of the year, the sun reflects from the lake, goes through the door and to the very back of the temple. This is the temple for Queen Nefertiti, built by her husband, the king, for her, because he loved her so much. Queen Nefertiti was an Egyptian queen and the first of the great royal wives of Rasmussen the Great. She is Egypt's only female pharaoh. She is one of the best-known Egyptian queens among all of the queens of Egypt. She was highly educated and able to both read and write hieroglyphs, which is a very rare skill at that time. Rasmussen constructed this temple for her in Abu Simbel next to his colossal monument.
So this is the goddess of, I think, fertility is the cow goddess, and they have a real woman, but then they have cow ears.
This temple is part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site known as the Nubian Monuments. The complex was relocated entirely in 1968 to higher ground to avoid being submerged by Lake Nasser after the Aswan Dam reservoir was formed. An artificial hill was made from a dome structure to house the Abu Simbel temples. We're currently at a little museum that shows us the history of how the temple was moved from its original location. We're now heading to go check out the High Dam.
So we are on top of the High Dam. This is blocking the Nile River to prevent water from flooding downstream. Behind me you can see the outlet of the dam going down the Nile River towards Cairo and then the Mediterranean Sea. This is pretty spectacular. I guess it's almost 4 kilometers long, 110 meters tall. So it's a decent sized dam. They have 12 generators here making electricity to power this place. Got a lot out of it.
It took about 4 years to complete this project. It was completed May 15th of 1964. Behind me you can see the lotus flower. The lotus flower is to represent love. Russia actually was the one that helped Egypt build this, and so they put this monument up as friendship. So because this dam was built, they actually had to relocate a lot of the temples in the Nubian area because this raised the water level so high that it would cover all the monuments. So UNESCO came and helped them move them, and we got to see a lot of the different monuments that have been moved to a different location to preserve them.
Our next stop is to the Temple of Kom Ombo. The temple means mountain of gold. It is an unusual temple because it's a double temple. It has a double design, meant that there were courts, halls, sanctuaries, and rooms duplicated for 2 sets of gods, the evil god and the good god. The evil god is the crocodile god, which is Sobek. The good god is Habi, which is the river Nile god, because the Nile gives lots of things to the people. The temple is atypical because everything is perfectly symmetrical along the main axis. This temple took 480 years to build. It took a long time because there was a lot of wars going on between the Egyptians and the Greeks.
This first temple has a total of 10 columns. They have 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, and 2 columns in between to hold up the roof. There's one temple here in front, and then there's another temple behind with also columns. And it's 2 temples together. And this is a Greek-Roman temple, and you can see a lot of the Egyptian gods, but they're done by the Greek Romans, so it's not all accurate. But a lot of the Egyptians helped build this, so they have a lot of the same architecture. But you could tell it's Greek Roman because the columns at the top have these leaves, which is specific to the Greeks.
On the wall, this is considered one of the most important scenes in the temple. It is where King Bartholomew is getting his coronation by the different gods, and you can see him getting the crown placed on his head here.
So we're just in the Crocodile Museum, and you got to see a whole bunch of mummified crocodiles. We're in the Kom Ombo Temple right now, and the museum, the Crocodile Museum, is on the site here because that's where they found the mummified crocodiles.
Over 300 crocodile mummies were discovered in the vicinity and in this temple location. I hope you enjoyed the second day on the Nile. Join us for the last day on our Nile cruise as we stop by Abu Temple and Luxor Temple. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe below to follow more of our adventures.